What's good, everybody? It's Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, back at it with another reaction. We got a reaction why the music industry is dying. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop the video on the road to 5K. Man, the music industry, as an artist myself, navigating through this climate, it's the industry is doing something interesting, but as an independent artist, I'm just all like navigating without the industry to generate income and to be able to build yourself and things like that. It's a doozy. In some cases, it's just all like I don't see going through the industry as something beneficial. Not saying there aren't artists that aren't successful and happy in it, but it's just there's a lot that's going on, and with everything happening with P. Diddy and more skeletons being exposed with just other artists and things like that, it's not just in hip hop either, music in general, with the way that it's being consumed, with the way that it's being created, with the way that it is being put out, it is completely different. So I'm curious to hear this
The
take.
music industry is officially on its way to the bottom as over 150 employees and one of the biggest major labels in the industry got laid off, and a whole host of artists
Damn.
have also been getting dropped. This marks a very important time in music as there's currently a very big shift taking place, mostly in relation
And
to the
AI.
documented plateau of revenue from streaming, something that does affect the entire industry as a whole. Atlantic Records, which is the home label to some of the biggest stars in music, recently reported that they're downsizing as a part of a major restructuring effort. It was reported that over 170 people working at the major label got laid off. This includes people in the management sector, people from the marketing department, and a whole lot of the employees put in positions to make the artist win. A lot of musicians are also suffering in the process. If you're not aware, a whole lot of artists have also been getting dropped from the label. The names of those artists are not known yet, but let's just say that these record labels sign thousands of new artists every single year, knowing that 95% of them are not going to succeed, which leaves them with a very small pool of winners. And they're banking all their money on that small percentage of artists breaking even, and an even smaller percentage out of those coming out on top and becoming big names and successful names that makes them a lot of money. There's also been a wave of music executives stepping down from their respective positions. Kevin Liles, CEO of 300 Entertainment, which is the home to Young Thug and Fetty Wap, stepped down after working at the label for over a decade. Julie Greenwald, chairman of Atlantic Records, is also stepping down in January. This may not seem all that major to most people, but it actually is. We're seeing a very interesting shift taking place right now because streaming has undoubtedly dominated the music industry for the last decade. Music streaming was introduced in the early 2000s with Napster, which is an American peer-to-peer file sharing
Man, I
application
remember
primarily
that.
associated with digital audio file distribution that
LimeWire.
originally launched on June 1st, 1999. With the launch of Spotify in 2008 is when it became a staple in the music business. It's been the dominant source of income for the music industry since the mid-late 2010s, and it's overtaken.
And it is true. Me personally, I've gotten money from streaming, but it's nothing compared to me going out selling CDs and merch. Like, it is nowhere near a comparison. And even just selling a digital album, the people that may like an artist, we have things set up to where you could just go to one of the things that we have set up, buy the album directly. It goes directly to us versus getting it from iTunes, like us having it on our website, and so with the it's interesting seeing the talks 10, 20 years ago, me being 33. Yeah, I remember a lot of that as far as the beginnings of it. And a lot of people talking about how this is going to kill the music industry, X, Y, and Z. And a lot of times when people are talking about the industry or talking about these different artists, to me, I always look at it in a different way because I see success outside of the traditional music industry. You know, it takes a while to build that up, but the payout and the return is so much better. How many artists are just crashing out because of just horrible, horrible deals that they signed because of whatever they felt, and they're gone tomorrow. That's why it's interesting. Even when people say something like, because you're not a popular quote unquote pop commercial artist or something like that, you're not known or successful or different things. And it's like, it's not the case, especially in 2024. But when we look at the industry having its claws in social media platforms as well, it makes it to where they're trying to get whatever they can get. Like I was explaining to a friend, I'm just all like, even us having our music on something like a Tune for CD Baby, these major labels own those as well, so they're still getting a percentage of this money all the while we're getting such a low amount. You know what I mean? So it is
in physical
interesting.
sales and digital downloads as the primary revenue driver. Now that's been the case for a while, but it does look like the streaming revenue growth in the music industry is appearing to slow down. Although it has grown steadily for years, recent trends suggest that the rapid expansion seen in previous years is now tapering off. As an example,
Yeah.
Sony Music reported a modest growth in its streaming revenue in the second quarter of 2024, which is lower than expected compared to previous years. So things objectively aren't as good as they used to be. When a lot of people think about inflation, they think about the effect it's having on their everyday lives, which is understandable because that's the only thing we know. But I want you to realize that this concept applies to the music business as well. We're talking increased touring costs, which is where artists make the majority of their money. This includes rising fuel prices, venue rental fees, and labor costs. This has made touring significantly more expensive. Artists are finding it harder to profit from live performances, which is why so many musicians are not only canceling but also scaling back on touring. This is of course connected to the consumer, because if it's more expensive to tour for an artist, that obviously drives up the prices they set on things like tickets. So the consumers are facing higher ticket prices as these costs are passed on, factoring in the increased price.
And what's crazy is the fact that it's a new world that we're living in, and we see that with the pandemic and the rise of streamers, and I'm actually not seeing as many artists as I thought would be streaming, because whatever the stigma is, because even myself, I find it very well, I wouldn't say I find it difficult to stream. I would say the way that I want to stream, I don't have complete access as of right now. Yeah, I can stream from my phone, but I want to be able to do things like share screens, play videos, and show y'all with different things like that. Yeah, I can share the screen and different things like that, but the videos are choppy. So, that's my only thing. But there still is those ways of being able to still be an artist in a way that people are consuming, or you're able to actually make, a living. So for me, I'm thinking about it like, okay, well, all this stuff is going on, but I'm seeing streamers. It would be like, I wouldn't say new streamers. It may be new to my awareness and other people's awareness, but I'll see them, and then a couple months go by, a couple more months go by, and they're set, whether they were doing video games, whether they was just talking and collaborate with other streamers. I'm just all like, they're making so much bank. It is ridiculous. You look at someone like a Kai Cenat, Duke Dennis, and different things like that, and I'm just all like, okay, well, as a rapper or a musician in general, we kind of got a leg up because we can do our thing for the audience, and that may seem weird because they're not actually there, but I think that artists, we do need to dive more into that because it is so wild. It is so wild. Now, is that sustainable as far as in the future? It just depends. You know, a lot of people say that for streamers, it's a large audience of like young people and different things like that. But from there is that aspect in streamers that are popular because of that. But there are streamers that are more adult oriented that still get crazy amount of views. Like someone like a DJ Academics, you know what I mean, who streams and is known as a streamer, as well as like a bunch of other ones. So I think figuring that out is going to be a part of the future, figuring out how instead of, which may be weird, there may be less shows that artists do in the sense of it may be like a dualistic type of thing. It may be, yes, we're gonna have these physicals for sale, but we're also going to stream it. You can get the tickets as far as streaming, you know, and I think that that may be more of what we're moving towards, you
raw
know.
materials for physical products like vinyls, and higher shipping costs, which is impacting the distribution of physical media. This, of
Hmm.
course, puts immense pressure on profit margins for the record labels, because if their artists aren't making as much money, that affects their bottom line. Inflation is driving
Yeah.
up costs across the board in the music industry, from live performances to physical product production, while also potentially reducing consumer spending power. And since so many people in general are struggling financially, and inflation is putting such pressure on household budgets overall, the consumer is going to prioritize essential goods over discretionary spending, like concert tickets, merchandise, and music subscriptions. Overall, less money is being put into the music industry due to the lack of consumer spending. And the creation of the music in itself is actually a very costly aspect of the process. Most industry artists aren't do-it-yourself musicians because they don't write, record, produce, mix, and release out of their bedroom. In that case, why would they sign to a major label?
Yeah, Russ is a good example.
And I feel like smoking platinum. Yeah.
So unless you fall under the category of someone like Russ, who does everything in-house, as soon as you enter the industry, you're gonna pay industry prices just to create the art. This is something Florida singer and songwriter Money Long spoke about recently. Money Long has for a long time been a successful writer in the music business, but during her rise as an artist after a hit song, Hours and Hours, blew up, she spoke about some of the things she realized about how expensive it can be just to record music.
I gotta mix it. That's money per song. Now that's 14 songs on this album. The last album was 19. So studios typically for a 12-hour block is $1,200. Then the session engineer is 75 to 100 an hour. So just add that up. Say you do 7 sessions a week, $10,000 just on sessions. And then mixing anywhere from 2,500 to 10,000 a track. That's 19 tracks. So that's $100,000. And now you gotta pay for the beats. So they're anywhere from 5,000 to 40,000 a track, depending on who you're working with. And sometimes there's multiple producers, so you gotta pay this fee, this fee, this fee, this fee. I didn't realize how much money that it takes to actually be an artist. This is before you market, this is before you shoot a video, this is before you do an appearance.
This is why a lot of your favorite artists in the industry are actually struggling, believe it or not.
Yeah. No, no, 100%. If y'all want to see the rest of the video, I'll leave it in the comments. But yeah, that the music industry is dying because you are seeing more people who are finding success without the industry. You know, this video is sponsored by yours truly, Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction. And for the month of October on my Mr. Composition Music YouTube page, I am doing one-shot music video a day. So for 31 days, there will be a new one-shot video, and the goal is to get that channel to 1,000 subscribers. So make sure to check that out. Subscribe, show some love to the videos, and drop a comment, man. Let me know that you came from this channel. But anyways, guys, back to the video. And though you may still have to at some point go through it, i.e., even though you're an independent artist, unless you're straight up distributing it, straight from your website, i.e., you're not using Bandcamp, you're not using CD Baby or anything to put it on these distribution, service platforms. Uh, like I said in the beginning, the labels are still getting a cut of your streams and your sales, like from iTunes or something like that. Um, and that's why, her breaking it down, definitely, I was just all like, and for me, that's why I produce my own stuff. And that's why I learned to mix and master. But even then, we still got uh Fiverr, I go through them. And yeah, breaking it down like that, you got to understand. If for me, if I'm doing the producing and I don't have to pay a producer, you know what I mean? But to get it mixed and mastered, I gotta pay for each one of those tracks. Even going through Fiverr, it will say, just 10 tracks. On average, it's about uh 25 to 50 to mix and master a track through Fiverr. You're doing that for 10 songs, boom, $500. You know what I mean? And it gets to, even just on the low end, that's just that. That's just the low end. What she was breaking down was like legit studio session. Again, I don't have to pay for studio sessions because I'm recording it at home. So all my expenses is, as far as on the song creation process, is to get it mixed and mastered, you know. But even with all of that being said, technology is getting to crazy levels to where AI is essentially able to mix and master, produce tracks, create images, create music videos. I mean, it's wild, and it's only getting more advanced. So even on the independent level, there's still all this. Do I feel like music itself is going to be obsolete or anything like that? No, because prior to all of this, prior to all the technology, we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, music is still relevant. We're just at a period where we've took it to the point where people have actually made crazy amounts of money off of it, whether it be the artist or the record company. So music industry dying, I don't necessarily think that that is necessarily a bad thing. Now, what do you think? Do you think the music industry is dying? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments. But it's Miss Composition, the MC that writes fiction, back at it with another reaction. Make sure to like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a video on the road to 5K. Make sure to check out the description for my music books, comics, and more. All right, y'all. Peace.